So now last night, Giuseppe, the service manager, spent about an hour and a half on the phone with someone in Virginia who's a Honda expert, and went over the flow charts I did already and all, and they do agree the ECM is defective. So we're going to take the distributor back out, get another ECM. I got like 11 hours, 12 hours in that car now. I think the ticket pays 6 or 7, but hopefully we'll get some kind of time out of it. They had me convinced yesterday morning I did something wrong, but that didn't work out. Good morning. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. Even if you're watching this later in the day, I still hope it was a good morning for you. We're going to spend a day in the shop, complaining, whining, worried about our paycheck. That's what we do. That's what everybody does when they go to work, right? It's all very strange, but that's the nature of this business, and that's how it is. And I've been dealing with it for a long time. And when I get frustrated about it, that's because I'm frustrated about it at the moment. But for the most part, I make good money. And I wouldn't have kept doing it all these years if I didn't enjoy what I do. Fixing cars, getting people back on the road, and making a decent living. That's why I do it. So we're gonna finish getting the shop open up. It's gonna be 92 today. It rained all night, so it's nice and cool right now, like 75. It's not bad for a Central Florida morning in July. So, oh, my birthday's coming up on Saturday too. Just remember it's July. Let's go ahead and get in there, get open up, and get started. We'll learn things. We'll have fun. We'll see if we can get back on the road and embrace the chaos. Keep rowing. Stay tuned. I haven't heard what we're doing yet today, but there's a few cars in the parking lot, but until they organize all their stuff up front, it's almost like 20 after 8. I'm going to start on this rear main seal job again from Monday. I haven't touched it since I worked on like half an hour on Monday, maybe 45 minutes. And we were getting to where we were going to take the exhaust out to get to the drive shaft, but something compels me to take the bolts out of the drive shaft up front and see if there's enough room to get the transmission down, because taking this exhaust off is a lot of work. And I want to say I did the transmission last like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and I don't think the exhaust has been out. It's hard to say. I did loosen these clamps and soak everything just in case, but I got one more bolt here. The transmission is locked in park, so I'm doing the awkward mode, is what it is. There's an 18mm nut and 18mm bolts, and the other ones are Torx. 3 of those, 3 washers, 3 nuts. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's going to be enough room. I think we'll be in good shape. Let's just put it that way. I'm not going to brag yet, because we know how that works out. Rear main seal, oil pan. I got to take the rack down. I mentioned that in Monday's video when I thought I was going to be doing that all day Monday. The rack and pinions got to come down. The oil pan goes out the front, I believe, like a Ford, which is kind of weird that for performance engines they've learned so much that all the racing engines, it's either a dry sump or a rear sump, because when you accelerate, oil goes back. But some engines, some modern engines, have the oil sump in the front, which heavy acceleration, the oil goes to the back of the pan and the pickup doesn't get any oil. I guess they compensate maybe by having 7 or 8 quarts of oil in the engine because of that. But anyway, just stuff I think about while I'm working. Before I roll the transmission jack over, you guys that have been watching a while know, the next step is for me to get the bolts that are going to be blocked by the transmission jack. At least most of them. Look at all the oil coming out of the starter. That's not good. You guys see that? That's pretty bad. This bell housing is probably full of oil. I loosened the starter and oil just, well, maybe not like gallons of oil, but it made a little mess. Gravity. Check. I'm gonna start getting this rack out of the way. Might as well. I'm gonna leave the hoses attached, and we'll see. I might need to bungee it up to something. I got some access areas here where I can just lower it and not completely remove it. If you're doing this job for yourself, then it's probably more convenient to just get it completely out of the way. But I'm not doing that because flat rate. I did mark the shaft and the rack at some point. I didn't do it today. I probably did it last time I worked on this car. He puts money into this one rather than buying a new one, which more power to him. You know, I can appreciate that, but like I've mentioned before, for me, the rest of the wear and tear just messes with my OCD, I guess I have, or my anal retentiveness, my son says. These are 15s. It's like an 18 on the back and a 15 on the bolt. We'll get this rack out of here, and then we'll see what we can see next. Anytime I do a big job like this, especially oil leaks, I'll use things like this cart, organize everything nicely, take a little bit more time. I don't do it in a rush. It's not like when you do suspension work, you know, you're not, things aren't as dainty and delicate. You're not worried about having it leak when you're done. So it takes a little more time, I think, for an oil leak repair to be done right, and that's why they don't seem to always pay very well. Like that Impala I did last week was struts and shocks and mounts and an alignment. Paid 7.5 hours. I did it in about 2 hours and 20 minutes. And this job, I think this whole job pays like 8 or 9 hours, and it'll probably take me 7 or 8 hours taking my time because I want to try to do it once. Now if there's something else leaking when I'm done, or if those cam timing codes come back, if you saw the earlier video, then that's a separate thing. But you get cam timing codes from low oil level, and he keeps bringing it in with a low oil level and a cam timing code. We got to fix the oil leaks first. Tie rod ends are holding it nicely. Now I can go back to getting the transmission out of the way, and we're getting somewhere good. You got to harness all that Hemi horsepower. And 2 nuts are better than 1. Truer words have never been spoken. We're gonna de-nut this thing. Loosen our nuts and pairs. However you want to look at it. If I want to turn the flywheel to get all the converter bolts, I got to take this out. And it's complicated. I don't know. These are going from the wrong side, or this is, oh, okay. I took the wrong bolts out. I gotta take the ones up front out, which is a shame. It's very unfortunate, because now I gotta put all these screws back in and take the other ones out. That's all right. We're working at a nice, comfortable pace. No big deal. We'll come back in a second, though. For you, it'll be literally a second, not even. Don't you try escaping yet. Take the right screws out, it's easy. I have a lot of room in here for sockets and ratchets and stuff. So I got a short 1/2-inch drive, 21mm. I gotta see if I can fit my tool in such a tight space. I might have to put the socket on first. Clockwise from the front of the engine until we get the rest of the converter bolts. This is a twist lock connector. We turn this little handle and it releases the connector. I got the little clips out of the lines, but I'm not going to pop them loose and let it drip on me the whole time until I'm ready. Next thing is get this jack in place, make it match the pan a little bit, cross my bolts, and then there's going to be a few bell housing bolts on the top. Should be out. the exhaust is holding it up. Well, that's unfortunate. The exhaust kind of keeps it tensioned, doesn't let it roll back enough to get to the top bolts. So I'm gonna have to take these front pipes out, although it's not hard. I already pulled the O2 sensor connector that's above the transmission. Two, looks like 17s or 18s, and then I loosen this clamp back up again, no big deal. I'm gonna take this exhaust down all the way. Apparently there's no tricks, no sneaking stuff out. The studs on the manifold go into that front cat that far. I can't get the cat to clear the studs. So I gotta take the whole exhaust system down, which I thought I saved that work with the drive shaft. Thanks Bill, Bob, you guys. Luigi was probably involved. Oh, this is 2013. Fiat hadn't gotten a hold on it yet. Anyway, got my pole jack assistant over here. He's gonna help me so it doesn't crash down too fast. I want to control the track so I don't get hurt again. They let you take one muffler off. And one muffler has a flange right here. This one doesn't. I did notice it is blown out. So you can't unbolt this hanger, but you can unbolt these. So they're unbolted right now. The bumper and the pole jack are holding it up, and these tubes. So once I pull it off, this cat's gonna probably want to fall. I'm gonna have to put a nut back on there so that doesn't fall when I pull this off. Jace helped me lift it out. I had those clamps loose thinking I could sneak these out, but the studs are about you know, the typical engineer length, 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch too long to get them off the stud and slide the pipe forward. But I know they don't do it on purpose. It's just a coincidence. Now I got plenty of room to get to the shifter and all the other cool stuff. Is it? Now we got a lot more room to work. We got to take the dipstick out, and Dodge has this cool plate up here that holds a wiring harness. So you can take the 13s off. I think there's only 2 of them. And then you pull that plate out of there and lift it up so you can get to the studs like this one. There's 2 of them up top. And then this transmission falls out of there. Shifter, two little push tabs to get out of this hole, and there's a little lock bar like they have on the GMs and other brands too. You can get to the bolts back here with a long extension if you got one. The only question now is controlled release or a spectacular crash. There's only one of the 2 ways it's going to happen. Alright, controlled release. FTW, as they say. The cooler line's making quite a mess over here, by the way. That's the only really spectacular thing that's going on. And I've mentioned this before, but fluid will come out of that line for like 3 months. The cooler lines really mess with you on these compared to others. Move it around a little bit, move it again. Not that bad, really. Just makes you wonder, is there no other way? Not in your eyes. They wouldn't have done it that way if they thought it could be done better. Alright. I'm going to roll this over to a safe place out of our way. Get that flywheel off next. See that bolt I dropped? Notice I didn't go underneath the flywheel. It has no bolts holding it on to pick it up yet. I've had too many injuries already. Oh, you want to see yesterday's injury? How it's healing? I know some of you are probably worried about me. Some of you don't care, but most of you do. It's a little better. My wife was freaking out last night. You gotta go to the hospital. Oh my God, you're gonna need stitches. She loves me. I'm gonna say that every time I get injured because it's true. Interesting. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see. what we can see. Seal is definitely wet. That bolt is oddly wet, and the corner of this oil pan is definitely wet. So we're on the right track. When the oil came out of the starter, I was feeling pretty good about the whole situation. I put that on top of the flywheel so I don't forget it. I almost wonder if someone put, I thought I put the engine in this, but I'm not sure. Honestly, when I took the flywheel bolts out, they weren't all the same tightness, so I don't think I did it. I'm not sure. I know the shop put an engine in it. I don't know who. This is original, so maybe it wasn't changed. I doubt they got it from Dodge. It's normally O'Reilly's or AutoZone or Advance or something. Who knows for sure? Speculation's over. Let's continue with our repair, making it work. Oil pan's coming out next. Look how nice that oil is. I changed the oil about, I don't know, was it 2 months ago, a month and a half ago now? And then when it came in last Friday or Monday, I put 3 more quarts of oil in it because it was already that low. I'm gonna change the oil again. This thing's gonna have so many oil changes. It's gotta kind of rebuild the motor, especially to put some of the additives. I saw a video, let's talk while it's raining. I saw a video advertised on TikTok from a company called Prolude. And they use the old snake oil trick, the Timken bearing loader. And they put weights on it and stuff, but anyone who knows about engines knows that engines don't work that way. They got hydraulic oil film being pumped in between the surfaces. It's not in an oil bath like an engine from the 20s and teens. So it's something that you have to be careful with because they're going to try to do it's a salesman technique, like when they come to your house to sell you a Kirby vacuum cleaner. Now to keep things interesting, they've got 15mm bolts, 10mm bolts. I'll be right next to each other. They're serious about this thing. I mean, how else are you going to harness all that horsepower? We'll work our way around. The dipstick is still in place. You can unbolt it from the head and pull it out of the pan, or you can drop the pan and when you put it back together, kind of slide it back onto the dipstick. But we'll see how that goes. I might have to take the bolt off the head. My plan is to try to do without doing that, but so far all my plans have gone awry.
Oh yeah, they gave up. They gave the fuck up. Look how much of a gap that is.
I'm not sure it's going to fit out of there. I might have to lower the suspension cradle too. I was hoping not. All the hopes and dreams in the world don't change much of an inch. I wonder if I jack the back of the motor up. We'll try that real quick. I don't have a good feeling about it, to tell you the truth. I went up in the back of the engine about, I went up about 2 inches or so back here. I don't know how much more I should go, but I don't want to bust the stuff. There's the crank reluctor, crank sensor right here. Reads that big reluctor wheel. And I think there may not be enough room, but we'll see. I don't want to force anything, because I got to get all the new stuff in without doing any damage to any gaskets and stuff. It looks like I need about this much, and we'll see. I'll play with the pulley jack a minute and I'll tell you how it went. Or I could try to edit it all down and make it look awesome.
Be careful, I use your bait, or you're gonna need it then.
I'm not gonna need it that I know of. It'll be alright.
Zip it up.
Unfortunately, I looked a little closer. The engine mounts are on the engine cradle. So lowering the engine cradle ain't gonna do any good. You gotta unbolt the motor mounts and use an engine fixture to pull the engine up. I didn't catch that before when I breezed through the instructions. Or I might have had this part done earlier. I'll get everything out of my way so I can get these unbolted, lower it down, and put a fixture on the engine. I got an engine stand fixture right over there. I'm looking at a procedure saying, why do they want you to take the intake off? And then I realized, well, you only get about 1.5 inches to raise it up with the intake in the way. Plus, if you take the intake off, you got a place to hook the tool up, because you literally have to raise this engine up about 2 inches. That's what it looks like to me, because I raised it up with that pole jack quite a ways, and I needed a little more. I'm gonna undo this airbox snorkel thing, take the intake off. I thought I was close to done. We're not even halfway. We're close though. We're getting there. Fuel line, breather hose. That vacuum hose actually goes to the purge valve. All the coil connectors. Then I think there's 5 or 6 8mm bolts down each side. Throttle cable. This wasn't in the airbox. I just noticed. I went to take this off and I'm like, something goes in there. I found this laying under here like this. We'll put it back together, right? Don't worry. You come back, that manifold's not going to be in the way anymore. Intake's off. Hose and the connector in the back. Really pretty easy. The problem is though, I'm looking to see my engine fixture deal. I don't want to use those little tiny bolts to hold an engine up. So now that I got the intake off for clearance, I might just lift it back up, use the pole jack, put a block of wood, pole jack, block of wood, something like that. One of those things that when you look in the instructions, there's a fixture they bolt in place of the intake. It's a metal plate, and then the engine support uses that to crank the engine up like an engine hoist. I don't have that. So we're going to make it work with some other kind of contraption.
The mount has a recess, goes down, it's like a cup. So I gotta come up with something creative. Sometimes I'll use sockets or something where the bolts go.
You can put a socket in and put the bolt through so the socket doesn't move around. Get everything where I want. I gotta take the pole jacks out of my way, but it'll be supported like it's on the mounts. Well, that's not supposed to be like that. The bolt was supposed to hold that other one in. I think that mount's broken. That's a bummer. I'll go back to it. Now what were we doing? Just a suggestion to keep them in place. I guess it doesn't work 100%, does it? Because this mount is kind of forward. I think the engine kind of slid a little forward. But that's all right. It's only temporary. Gonna make it so we're 1/8 of an inch shy, guys. Come on now. That's exactly what it's gonna do. I'll just lift the back up a little bit with a pole jack. Should pop right out. New plan, let the car down to the next set of safeties, next latches. So it's down about that far. And then we'll put a pole jack in the back, tilt the motor up just so I can get the back to clear. It's this far away. Not ready yet. It's going to be the grand finale. Comes right out. Now, it's on the safeties. I'm going to try to leave the pole jack in, do what I need to do. Get the oil pan back in if I mess with anything else like that. Transmission's still dripping over there, coming out of the electrical connector. Try to put some pig mats or rags down. I hate walking around in coolant and transmission fluid. Sometimes you don't have a choice, that's all. Just clean up after you're done. The problem is, you track it everywhere you go. So like I've been back to my box like 5 times, mopped the floor a bunch of times. This windage tray is the gasket. You don't want to pry on the reluctor at all, ever. Man, this thing is stuck on there. Like Lionel Richie. I don't see any bolts. It's got to all just be stiction. 8mm bolts and the seal retainer's out. It's all one piece. I don't think they even sell the seal separately. You gotta buy these as one piece. I thought there was a dowel pin here or something. Maybe it goes this way. I'm not sure. We're gonna find out right now. I believe those are 10 foot-pounds when they go back together. Also says in the instructions never to reuse the M6 bolts. So we'll see if everything came with new bolts or not. I got a feeling how that'll probably go, but we'll see. No place really great to pry from. It's very similar to an LS seal in its design. Let's go see if we can round up some new parts. We'll start cleaning things up. We gotta finish getting the under tray off. We'll be going back together after cleaning everything up. The surface might look a little sketch, but it's basically almost perfect. I can feel a little, wherever the tool drags, you know something's got to be cleaned off the surface. If the tool just glides along, there's something dragging. It's going to drag on the edges where the gasket doesn't touch, but you want this surface nice and clean. See the stuff that's taken off of there. Everything feels smooth to the touch. Everybody wins. Gasket works well. The gasket sets we got didn't come with the bolts that the repair says you need to replace and all, but they're not torque to yield, so I don't think it's that important. We got the Felpro kit and we got the Felpro rear main, which actually looks pretty nice. I don't expect any problems from that. I did a quick warranty alignment. I didn't film. The lady with the Murano, that Nissan Murano, I did the cluster and brakes and axle and alignment. She said it still pulls. I'm like, it pulls? I didn't know that. The alignment's all green. I rechecked it, it's still all green. But then I tweaked it some more to make it even more green. And I told her rotating the tires have a little memory, and when you rotate them, you got to give it a couple hundred miles to seat them in, rebed the tires. It comes with this cool tool that when you slip it on, it'll pop off as the seal goes on, so it doesn't flip the seal anywhere. We're out of RTV. I got some coming, but I don't have to worry about that till I put the pan up, put it in the joint. You got it?
Yes. All right, you manifested it.
Manifest it, and it shall be. Boom. It's so simple. A caveman can do it. Part of me wants to put a little RTV or a thread sealer on these bolts. Let's do that. I don't know why I feel compelled, but I thought I saw oil on the bolt holes. It probably just was from the rear main slinging it. But I'll still feel better. Just putting the tiniest little bit of thread sealer on the first few threads. That's a little too much. This makes me feel better. I also expect the comments to light up. Don't disappoint me. 10 foot-pounds on these, about 12.5 Newton meters. Excuse me. Now we wait for RTV to put the oil pan up. The shop's buying us lunch today because we had such an awesome week last week. But they didn't take our order till 5 to 1, so we might eat late today. That's all right. I can lose a pound temporarily. I'll be fine. I reminded them about the RTV a few times. They keep forgetting. So I went over to Joe, got some from Joe so I can put this pan back up. We try to get this all, at least get the engine seated back down today and stuff like that. But gotta get past this part first. It's not going anywhere really with the way I have this engine supported, but I still feel better going home tonight with it not the way it is. This is really good RTV. Very good look at this stuff. To put this in all the joints, and where you see these black tabs is the other gasket. Don't be bashful with it. I gotta put the big one-piece valley gasket up. I got to put the dipstick tube back up. Got to work a little bit efficiently. You don't get frantic at this point, but you've got about 10 minutes basically to get the pan up there. Now, I'm not going to put the gasket up on the RTV until I got the pan under it and it's all going in together. This isn't how I chose to do it. It's how Bill and Bob chose to do it. I thought I remembered it being with clearance. Sometimes all your best plans go out the window when it's time to actually put everything back together. You get to a point where you just hope it goes together at all. There's a lot of bolts to put in. Seems like a lot of bolts, doesn't it? The larger bolts, 39 foot-pounds, and the small ones, 9 foot-pounds, which is 12 Newton meters. On the sockets back, I used half-inch drive shallow sockets so that the bolts would fit through and stuff if you're going to do this kind of thing. Always be mindful of the fingers. I don't ever, even though I know it's got 2 pole jacks under it, I'm still nervous about it and like poking my finger in there to grab the socket. I'm not in there lollygagging, that's what I'm saying. Should kind of want to go back in the cup. I need a little encouragement in the right direction. Probably the trickiest part of the operation. Well, getting the pickup tube in and tight in between all the other stuff is probably one way you got to be efficient. This mount's definitely got to go back. There you go. There's little tabs that fall down into a notch. Pole jacks out of here. It's business as usual now. I'll have to go around it a couple times. Make sure those are tight while we're in here. Dowel pins, not much help. I got Loctite on all my bolts. I don't think they are. I tried to take parts off, set them down on my workbench. That way I pick them up, put them back. I'm trying not to turn them. Saves you a little time. A lot of these only go on one way, especially if they have anything to do with the crank signal. The bolts are torqued on the seal housing, on the pan. Motor mount bolts are tight. Little by little, we're running out of parts. I took this out with a 3/8, but tightening it says 70 foot-pounds. And I don't think my little 3/8 is quite that strong, but maybe it is. Socket would have probably fit the bolts better, but that worked. when I looked at this little 17mm impact socket, it was like the kid in the back of the class. Me, me. I mean, the front of the class. Yeah, it was like the kid in the front of the class. Me, 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 me. Probably not the best socket for the job, but the torque is accurate. Just a little harder to hold it on the bolt because it's got the rolled edges and stuff. But perfect. I'll take it. Ooh, I can hear it in the background, rumbling and tumbling. I'm gonna get the rack in here just so I feel better about it, not dangling around here. And pinch bolt, 2 mounting bolts, pretty simple. Gotta get any remnants of oil leaks off of it. Remember what size that was? I think it was a 15, which I know my 15 because the collar's destroyed from, everything's got a tight squeeze. Well, a lot of things have a tight squeeze. It is a lock nut, so it's tight the whole way on. It's not cross-threaded or anything. That's the steering. We don't want to lose that. We're about ready for the transmission. I'm going to give it another once over. Anything I always try to, if I put bolts in something, I don't walk away to do something else and try to remember to come back to those bolts. If I put them in, I tighten them unless I can at that point. If there's a way, if they can be tightened, I try and put them in and tighten them. Because when I see all the bolts disappearing, I know they're all in and tight, right? Especially on a really big job like this, you can get ahead of yourself. You got to be careful. I stopped 3 times today. I don't think I filmed any of them. 3 different times I stopped to look at something, and all of them were free. I didn't get paid for anything. The one lady with, I think I mentioned a Nissan Murano alignment. I realigned it, but it was all green and perfect, and it said recommended procedure. No adjustments necessary. I sent them that printout, and then I had tweaked it just a tiny bit more so everything was dead center, not just green. And then I sent them that printout. And I looked at a Tahoe. He hears a noise in the dash, and it sounded like the blower motor, little gurgly, weird noise like a bearing going out in the blower motor. But he was mad that we were going to charge him for a blower motor, so he left. And then something else too, I forget what it was, something silly. But nothing productive. It just took away about an hour and a half worth of work on this. I was hoping by now to have the tranny up. I kind of like to lower it down and do the intake so it's not sitting overnight. I do have rags over those ports, but it'll still bother me. That's how it works. It'll still bother me. I'll look around a minute, we'll come back putting that transmission in. Now I gotta watch some cooler lines. It'll get all wonky. Gotta also feed in the dipstick tube. When I get a little closer. I go about halfway up. Take a look at that dipstick. Away for that. Gotta go up about 5 more inches before it's even close. Don't forget too, we gotta push up that bracket that holds the wiring harness right as I get it up to the engine. Now I can move this with the stand. Really nice to have a decent transmission jack like this. I remember doing these on jack stands on the ground. Had these really big commercial jack stands you could barely fit under the car with a transmission. You just push them up, start a bolt with the other hand. Ah, memories. I've been waiting for misty watercolor memories. I wish my magnet on my flashlight hadn't fell out. I just don't want to start using the other one yet. It's so nice and clean and new. I try to only use it when I'm working on interiors and stuff. And it's really close. We gotta push that metal bracket up. Bye, flashlight. We used to say when I was a kid, have a nice trip. See you next fall. That was mean, man. We were mean when we were kids. Kids used to go home crying and we would laugh and laugh. I'm glad we don't do that kind of stuff to each other anymore. We're really close. We're gonna start putting bolts in. Alright, got my bracket with my wiring harness pushed up out of the way because the studs don't trap that bracket. You put the studs in, then put the bracket on, then put the 13mm nuts on. So, but I think my transmission's lined up real good. Let's get some bolts in that thing. A couple of bolts go the wrong way. And they got a different size head on them. They're like a 16, rest are 15. A few more of those. Drop that bracket on. Once all the upper bolts are done, we'll get this transmission mount buttoned up. Before hooking the shifter cable up, bolt up my drive shaft. I didn't bolt in my cross member yet. I wanted to get it flat so my drive shaft's all the way in. But all the upper bolts are done, so I could put the cross member bolts in next. I can do whatever I like at this point. I'm my own boss. Stop the park. It's a lot easier to roll this thing around and get to the bolts. I did it the hard way coming apart because I was trying to be tricky. I guess Tricky Jimmy doesn't really have a ring to it anyway. Jammin' Jimmy, now that does. Although I wouldn't use that because an RC racer that was really awesome when I was younger. And so was he. His name was Jay Halsey. They called him Jammin' Jay. He was fast. That guy could wheel an RC vehicle. Now I'll hook up the shifter. Put it in park. Pop the cable on. Boom. Cross member going in. Cooler line, some lower bolts, exhaust system. Kind of push it in and turn it at the same time. Cooler lines. I have to do this side first, I guess. I put the clips back in already. See how that clip kind of relaxed? Sometimes I don't film these too well, I think. We're getting them better today. Taking this channel to the top. Royalty Motors feeling the heat. Okay, maybe not really, but they're doing awesome. He started his channel like a year ago. He's at 300,000 subscribers. I'm doing something wrong. I suck. Get on there, will you? The rest of them go that way. I set those two bolts facing the other direction on my table just so I would know which direction those ones went, because they're slightly different lengths. Sometimes you got to be really careful because it'll go into a blind hole like this. Put the wrong bolt in there, it'll crack. And everyone is very sad. And the converter bolts, only had like 3 millimeters off to one side. I used the bolt to just move it a little bit. Going smoothly. Smoothly. Oh, you know what I didn't think of on this one? If there's any guide holes that I should have lined up at the bottom. I didn't even look. Oh well. I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to snug them up. If I have to, I'll loosen them back up again. So, let's live on the edge, man. Yeah. 2 more sets of those. Oh my goodness, I feel like Tom and Dangly, aka Phil, when they're battling for first on a channel in the morning. Now I know how victory feels. Not really so much a winner on that one. Got a wrench right here, no big deal. What else we got to do, you know? You know what else? I'll tell you what else if you want to know. That gigantic exhaust system. And sometimes I'm pretty stubborn and I'll take silly stuff out by myself I shouldn't. That one? Nope. I won't try to do that one by myself. I'll get a helper. We'll pop it up in there and then I'll bring it back when we start bolting it up. A lot of the guys don't like to be on camera because they haven't done the hair and makeup. I decided to separate these pipes to make it a little easier on my helper. And then my helper left. He's lucky, man. He's been doing some really good jobs. He beat me, that oil change guy. He beat me by hours last week, by about 5 hours. And this week he's done all 12, 15-hour jobs on one car. How many barrels at 430? More power to him, man. I'm a little jealous. I'm not mad about it. I'm making my money. But it's just good for him. And this flange goes flat, but it does have a tapered gasket that kind of all sits together at the same time. So I should be able to just tighten this up. Again, I'm going to live on the edge and do it. If I have to loosen it up, I'll do that too. That's all. No big deal. I think this was a 16 for some reason. These guys are here. This extension, if you don't have one, and this comes in so handy on a lot of things like this. Otherwise, you have to sit there with a 3/8 gun or with a hand ratchet or something. But I think the O2's up here somewhere. I pushed it back on its little holder, like you're supposed to do. It's pretty far up there. Let me get the other side. I'm gonna see if I can love it out of there. Icon for the win. Alright, this is going to go on a ways further. About another 1.25 inches. It hardly even moved. I thought I was hitting it hard. It's going, but we're going to be a while. We're going to get a heck of a workout. Got a little arm pump. You gotta get on hangers. You gotta get that real left rear muffler up. I'm hoping that'll be the easy one. I'm running out of parts. I'm running out of bolts. I don't want this muffler to hit me in the head. We got a bolt on here, hopefully. Get another one on here. If two are on there, I know it's not gonna fall. Well, not very far. I'll tell you what, nothing better than testing your very expensive Milwaukee batteries several times a day to prove their durability to the world. I could muscle it up, prove my youthfulness. Just don't feel like it right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and use the pull jack. When you do this, if you look up this exhaust removal, it tells you to remove the rear bumper. No, seriously. Every step on this car, it has some ridiculous other thing you gotta do. Like to raise the engine, you gotta remove the manifold. To get out, to take out the, to get to the upper transmission bolts, the cats have to be in the way. To get the cats out of the way, you gotta take the entire exhaust system out of the way. To get the exhaust system out of the way, you gotta take the bumper out of the way. If they would have just had a flange right here on the other side, and these studs were about that much shorter, like could have popped out the intermediate pipe, took off the 2 cats without a helper or anything, without struggling, without potentially damaging a customer's bumper. 13mm bolts on those guys. That's where it is. I'll show you a little closer. I'll give you some light. Now, sadly, the tailpipe and the exhaust, the tailpipe to me should be about 2 or 3 inches longer, at least 1.5 inches, 2 inches, because it doesn't quite make it all the way to, well, you know. I was hoping to get that intake on tonight, like I told you earlier, but the 2 or 3 things I did, which sadly I didn't make any money on again, I'll reiterate. Those things that aren't a big deal to some people kept me from having this done today. I wouldn't have been able to deliver to the customer tonight. It would have all been done, intake on, oil in it, ready to fire it up in the morning and drive it and stuff. So instead we'll have it done by about 9 in the morning, 9:30 in the morning. We'll call it good. It's like 20 after 5. I would work late and probably put that intake on tonight, but I feel like it wasn't meant to be done tonight the way things went. There's a certain way to do things, there's a certain kind of a rhythm, and when the rhythm's disrupted, sometimes you disrupt the rhythm. That's a BMW. What'd you do to your nice BMW? Maybe you'll torque the like button before you head out. Check out the Amazon store. I'm gonna get in there and finish closing this place up. I hope I've seen another video. You're awesome.